Hey everyone, welcome to Daily Revelations. Thanks for joining me and being on this journey. We're just seeking God every day. What is He going to say to us? And how does that apply to what's going on in our life now? And yet also taking it in the context of how He was speaking to the people of the books that we're reading through. So just finishing up Joshua today. It's been a quick run through. Today's only my second day and we're done. But Joshua was a lot of battles in between, a lot of just the people of Israel moving into the promised land, like I talked about yesterday, a lot about them just even preparing for that battle. We're not even going to talk about Jericho. Maybe that's a story you don't know. If you don't, go back, read through Joshua, and get that, because it's an amazing story. But we're moving on. Today's the end of the book of Joshua. And the end starts 10 chapters before the end. But it's a lot of then appropriating land to the specific tribes of Israel, because as they came into the promised land, God said, this is your piece, this is your piece, this is your piece, based on the different tribes. And they were to be permanent pieces of land that they were to have for generations and generations and generations. And there's a whole bunch of things in the law about how that works. But for us to know, Joshua 13 starts by God saying some interesting things to Joshua. First of all, he tells him he's old. You're really old, he says. And then it pointed out that it said he was old in the first place. And then God points out, here's the work that you didn't do in getting all of the land taken over by the Israelites. It's still owned and occupied by the enemies of God. And so how defeating is that for somebody first to tell you how old you are and then to tell you what you didn't do, right? But then what God tells him next is the change. And I think we get so defeated by what we look at, it's the glass half empty, instead of how the half empty is going to be filled. And this is where God gets to this. And he says, now, you know all those places you have yet to conquer? Appropriate them to the sons of Israel, to the different tribes. Tell them this is their claim, even though it hasn't come yet. Show them there is hope and there is something for them in the future. It has not come, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And how often do we get stuck in those places that we say, well, I don't see any evidence of this. I've worked all my life. I've done all these things. I've gone over and above, and yet I still have so far to go. And we have a choice when we get to that place. Do we choose to say, I'm defeated by what hasn't been done yet? Or do we choose to say, I hope in the God who says this will be finished, and it will be completed, and it will be done? And those are the two places we can rest. One is not a very comfortable resting place because we are anxious and we are trying and striving to fill in things that we can't do on our own. The other one sits and says, God, I know this is too big for me. I know I'm old. You got to teach this old dog to still keep doing tricks while I'm still here, to keep trusting in you and following you no matter where you take me, with the hope, holding on to that hope that you will complete it, and the dream that you allowed me to dream, the plans that you allowed to come into my heart that I desire to happen because they're your will, they will happen. And then again, maybe I won't see them happen, but generations to come, because of what I did in obedience today, will happen for them because you promised. And that's what living a hope-filled life is all about. It's not about us getting things done and seeing things to their end or their completion. I even wrote in my notes, can you dream so big that your dream won't be accomplished in your lifetime? Well, I've been cursed with dreaming big. And it does frustrate me because I want to see it all done. Yet, as God has taught me how to let go and say, this is your will. It's not mine. I probably will not see that. But in the time that I can do what I can, and I can train the people to grasp the dream I have and share it with them so that becomes their dream. And this is what Joshua did. He, at the end of this chapter, or at the end of chapter 24, after it's all kind of one event that happened because they were appropriating land after that, and then he died. But he left in the hands of those who followed after him. And in Joshua 24, it says that the people who he trained in were obedient to God all the way through their leading Israel as well. That is all we can do. We can only affect the next generation to carry on that hope. And then it's in their hands to carry it from there. And God works in and amidst that hope, because guess what? It's his plan anyways. He shares it with us. He gives it to our hearts, but it never was ours in the first place. And it isn't ours to hold on to so tightly because this will make a name for me, or this will show people that I can follow God, that I'm obedient to him. It's not about me at all. It's about him, and it's about his plan. And if we can step back and we can hold on to that hope, it releases us from a lot of strain and stress in our lives. I talked this last week on depression at the homeschool conference I was speaking at, and quoted Neil Anderson, who wrote the book Overcoming Depression. And the one thing that he stated that really, it just hit me so hard when I was going through depression myself, was that he said that when we lose hope, that's when we spiral. The spiral of depression starts sinking us down. But if we were to hold on to hope, depression goes away. Not instantly, but the more we move towards, this isn't about me. This isn't about my plan. This isn't about what I can do. This is about me resting in what God is doing around me and being content, like I talked about yesterday, being content in where we are now, and what's going on, and what each day allows and what it doesn't. So hope that's an encouragement to you, and keep on digging into God's word and drawing close to him. That's where our hope is found. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining me on Daily Revelations.